So here we have this unique timepiece from the 1972 Munich Olympic Games, although it has a cheap movement. For turning the balance stuff, I recommend tungsten carbide gravers. One has to make a really sharp gravers because it's needed simply. So here first I'm preparing the workpiece in a collet type lathe. I will cover these two topics, this turning between centers and turning in a collet lathe throughout this video. So we have here almost a nice starting piece. At first we will turn the turn down to the balance hub size, this is the biggest diameter, and then make the balance shoulder and balance seat. So we start to turning down the maybe proper length and turning down the diameter of the balance. So we usually don't measure with the gauge. Usually we try the piece on the workpiece, so we just measure by eye. You will see. I'm trying again. One has to try many times if you want it to be accurate. This balance stuff has no riveted balance, so it's just a friction fit balance, so we don't need to undercut the riveting shoulder. We need to turn a bit more. So this collet lathe has a benefit of one have much more room. So for the graver, but the drawback of this turning is one can't remove the workpiece because when we put it back to the collet, it won't be centered, it won't be concentric again. With turning between centers, one can remove as many times and measure in the gauge, so one can measure the exact sizes, diameters and lengths. So it is now okay. So the balance will fit if I will push harder. So I stop here the turning. And now we will now turn the collet shoulder and the collet seat. For this we take the old balance stuff and just measure the needed length by eye. So first I'm just marking the correct spot and then measure again, turning a bit, measure again. Oops, here was a bit slipping. So it's a bit longer still, but I start turning to the smaller diameter. To the balance shoulder and the collet shoulder, one need to keep a small taper. So when putting on the piece on the staff, it will fit firmly. So it won't come off, and the stuff will hold the piece. Here I'm trying the collet, the hairspring collet, of course. It's a bit tight, so keep turning. As you can see, there is a really small taper, and I'm measuring the diameter by trying the piece on its place many times. So I measured much more times than I'm showing here, so it's a edited video. almost glued. Yeah. So I will turn a bit more, and finally it will fit. Here I'm using a small staking rod to put it on place. It fits perfect. I'm removing the collet, and now we moving to the next part, forming the upper pivot and the cone. So this is the hardest part maybe, because one need to be really careful. Again, here I'm measuring the length by eye and by placing the old stuff next to the workpiece, checking again the length. First I just mark the spot, then I start turning the cone and the pivot. From here on, one need to be really careful. Don't let the workpiece slip on the graver. So first one need a really sharp graver to do this. If one need to push hard on the workpiece with the graver, then it's not sharp enough. Okay, the working piece is a hardened steel, so hardened and then softened steel, softened to blue. You can maybe hear about it as a blue steel or pivot steel, but this is really hard. And this is why I recommend the tungsten gravers, because one just make it sharp only one time and don't need to care about resharpening throughout the process. With a steel graver, this is not that easy. One need to sharpen it again and again. That's a big mess. So usually carbide gravers are not that expensive. Now we know about at 0.3 or 0.3 millimeters with the pivot. I'm forming now the oil holding cap or this cone. This will this ensures that the oil stays at the pivot. Here again, moving a bit material. This is a really hard process, and one needs to be really careful. And when I was tired and sweating, and then I stopped and did something other. I play with my children or doing some housework. So then I get back to the work when my hands were not shaking. So when I could concentrate again. So with this pivot, I was going down to 0.2 millimeters. I'm shaping the cone a bit. And then back again to the pivot. So this takes a lot of time, and I need to be really careful, because when the working piece is thin, then the material is moved much faster, so removed much faster. So any accident can happen. It's not much a problem with the first pivot here, but when everything in this side of the balance stuff is fine, and we make a mistake and at the other pivot, the lower pivot, then it's real boring to start from scratch again. I've practiced about 1 year making this. So I'm a hobbyist, so I don't do this all day long, all the day. So maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, I can have a little time for this. So I will finish at the end this is not a proper watchmaking lathe or a micro machinist lathe. This is just a simple turning device, and also the gravers are not shaped like as it should be. I had to make some adjustments to it. Here a bit I'm shaping again the cone, and I think this is okay for this side. So I'm leaving a long pivot. It will be shaped in between centers. I'm preparing the other side for turning. You can see maybe the rest of here is wobbling, so I need to turn it to concentric workpiece. So here we can remove materials fast. We don't need to care about braking. So you can see the hub is just measured about to the size. As you can see, the hub is thickness is just measured about. And now we are here. I'm using here a smaller graver. This is from a vinyl cutter blade, shaped on diamond cutting blade, or how is it called? So tungsten carbide gravers must be shaped on diamond because they are really strong or hard. Here I'm checking the thickness of the hub. It is still too thick. This is a normal, non-modified vinyl cutter blade. So you can see it's really sharp, but it can also break really easy because the tip is really thin. So I need to be really careful. Here I'm making the shoulder a bit better, so it has 90 degrees to the hub. It won't be perfect, but I will make more adjustments at the end. The hub is also thick here. Oh, maybe so. It's okay for now. We will get to it later. It's making it more accurate. So with this blade one can turn with two edges. So I recommend these blades for really sharp edges. They are good for these small workpieces and making some minor adjustments. So you can see it start forming a nice shape. I'm using the other edge. Now here it's a I'm measuring the diameter of the hub. This is because I'm moving it back and forth, but the camera is of course in the other angle. I'm checking this or through the loop, so now I'm making this cone shape to the hub. For this I'm using the big graver from another angle. Now for this, the other side of the balance, I need to remove much material, and of course I have these big gravers, so I need room for them. Here also we need a small taper. As I said, we can't remove the workpiece. Now we have the roller shoulder and roller seat, and now we measure the position of the lower pivot, maybe here somewhere, okay, and start turning down the rest. Here I'm using again the small graver. So this graver is round shaped. For the tool rest, it is much easier to use square gravers. So at this side I was a bit flimsy turning the stuff. You will see I had a hard time making the pivot cylindrical. Here I get back a bit to the hub, but maybe you can see nicely here this small taper of the roller seat and roller shoulder. Here I'm checking the length of the roller shoulder again, and the thickness of the hub. Now I'm going down here also with the thickness 2.2 millimeters, about 0.2 millimeters, yeah. So I can measure here because I can't remove the workpiece from the collet because it won't be cylindrical when I put it back again. But I didn't try turning between centers yet because I don't have a device for that. Maybe I could use my pivot drilling tool for this with special cones, but I don't have a tool rest for that. So I think about this size, maybe a bit smaller, will do initially. So from here on, one needs to be really careful. So here we have a really thin material, and we need to get back to the other parts of the balance stuff, making some adjustments. It will break here. So when everything on the balance stuff, previous parts is okay, now then we can move to the to this lower pivot. So now we are finished and just cutting down the product, as you can say. So here it is. Let's compare the sizes. That's a match head of a matchstick, and this is my turning device. You can see my tool rest is a sheet of glass. Here I just put the square graver on it, and I can move it in 2 dimensions. So if you are interested, then please follow this story and my next videos, where I will show you how to finish the pivots and the balance stuff and reassembling the watch. And thank you for watching.